Hey everyone, my name is Robert Daigle. I'm so excited to be here with you and talk about AI solutions and capabilities for small and medium businesses and how you can be successful with some of the latest and greatest AI technology. So just to go through quickly on the agenda, what we're going to talk about today, we're going to go through a quick overview of your AI guide, the new AI landscape, where's the changes that have happened recently and make it easier for you to get started and leverage AI in your business. We're going to talk about some of the misconceptions that you may have around AI. We want to break down some of those barriers for you. We'll also talk about, going beyond just the chat GPT or whatever tool you're using today, and really think about other ways that you can start using AI in your business. And then we'll wrap up with some really practical ways for you to get started quickly and start seeing value very quickly with AI. Now, as a little bit of background, just to share with you about myself, I started in artificial intelligence about a decade ago when we were launching one of the first AI recruiting platforms. We didn't even know if we were going to call it AI or not because, it was early days. And at that time, we had to build out these, data science and engineering teams to develop these custom models and capabilities to be able to start driving value from AI and build it into our application. Now, that's changed quite a bit over the past few years, from, these very kind of specific use cases for businesses or using AI and research to really some really practical ways that you can start using AI today. About 7 years ago, I joined Lenovo to help lead and launch their AI business. And so we've seen a really exciting journey here at Lenovo from those early days a few years ago, almost a decade ago, when we invested and built out an AI business at Lenovo to start serving our customers with AI solutions to what we're seeing today, which is really this democratization of artificial intelligence. Now let's talk about the new AI landscape. Where we started was really like using AI and things like research or, leveraging supercomputers and high performance computing to do things like drug discovery or, improved genomic sequencing process using deep learning or, using it in other areas like computational fluid dynamics. So these areas of research that are helping solve, some of humanity's greatest challenges. A lot of researchers were starting to use AI in these areas of research. And that's really where we started at Lenovo, is enabling that by building these tools and these, capabilities around supercomputing. So some of the biggest supercomputers in the world leverage Lenovo technology. Now, what's happened over the past few years is we've started embedding AI into the places that you need it most, from, the devices you use in your pocket or in your home. A lot of us are using AI every day in our personal lives without even realizing it. If you were to count up the number of times you've used AI today, you may only think of one or two or maybe none, no ways that you've used AI, but really in reality, you probably I would venture to guess, you've used AI hundreds of times today before you watch this presentation, whether it's, using a maps application to find your route to your next location, or, you may use, a virtual assistant to ask it questions on your phone or on your home device, or you might be using AI even when you're texting. If you use predictive text on your keyboard on your device, whether it's a Motorola device or another device, it actually uses things like federated learning to predict your next word or phrase. So when you select that next text prediction, you're actually using AI. So you're using AI throughout your life every day. And so I just want to debunk that first thing that, AI is not scary. It's in many of the applications and tools that we interact with all the time. Now, when we're thinking about using AI in our business, you might assume that AI is mainly for large organizations, larger enterprises, and it's not really suited for me. So I want to debunk some of these misconceptions. Like the first one, let's talk about it. AI is expensive. It requires, there's a lot of hype around using GPUs, and we've got to go out and buy these big servers with GPUs in it. Now, if you're trying to train your own LLM, your own large language model, develop your own AI application, maybe you need that. And we have those for you. But for most small and medium businesses, that's not really where you're at today. But you can actually take models that are already developed, solutions that are already developed, and start leveraging them today. And some of those run on really cost-effective gear. Whether it's an AI PC sitting at your desk, or using AI on your Moto device or your mobile phone, or in edge computing where we got low-cost entry points to use AI at the edge in your retail environment and your manufacturing environment. Um, the other misconception I just talked about is where you run AI, like location matters. Like, not all of it's necessarily going to run in the cloud where you get to go up to the cloud, or run in your data center. It can run across that full spectrum of compute wherever you need it. And we're building the right compute to deliver it wherever you need it. Now, AI requires data science skills. It requires data engineers and data scientists, right? Wrong. A lot of the new tools and capabilities out there today actually don't require a data scientist or engineer to get started. Whether it's a fully contained pre-built application that, any one of your team members could start using today with a little bit of training, that's where you can get started. Or even if you're just using a model and you're kind of building your own tools and applications, really a savvy application engineer could start today using artificial intelligence. So a lot of these models out of the box work really, really well for a lot of different types of use cases. If you used any of the online chatbots or tools, you've probably experienced this. You can ask it questions about even maybe about your business, about something very specific, and it gives you a pretty good response today. And that's a lot different than what it was a few years ago. Now, another myth is that it's not secure. It's like, okay, we're going to put our, information into these systems, and it's kind of a black box. We don't know what happens to it or where the data goes. You can start using AI locally in a secure way, either on your device or, at your desktop in your back office. You don't necessarily have to push your data out to a cloud environment. We call this hybrid AI. This idea of data gravity. We want to bring AI to your data. We want to bring AI to where you need it. We don't necessarily going to force you into a certain environment, using certain IT gear, or force you into pushing your data into the cloud. We want to bring AI to where you need it most. Now, if you're not already using AI for your business, keep in mind your peers are. And here's a couple stats to really break this down, to share with you what's happening right now in businesses just like yours. First off, 14% of organizations like yours have deployed one or more AI applications. So 14% of businesses are already driving solutions within their business, when they're small and mid-sized businesses today, and getting value from artificial intelligence today. And 64% are in a trial or pilot phase. That means they're already getting started. They're already testing out, these different AI tools and capabilities that they can launch within their business. Now, 75% believe that delaying AI adoption will lead to missed opportunities. This sentiment shows urgency. Many business leaders see AI as a critical way to stay competitive, and they worry about getting left behind. That's a real fear, that FOMO, fear of missing out. As more businesses adopt AI, those who don't risk being left behind, are getting real value from it. And so it goes beyond just fear of missing out. It's actually that there's businesses like yours that are seeing real value and getting, leveraging AI to get a competitive advantage. 81% of businesses like yours expect AI to increase their overall budget and spending to incorporate these new solutions into their business. Despite current economic challenges, small and medium businesses are prioritizing AI investments and reinforcing that, early successes or identified growth areas are driving budget allocation. So they're reinvesting back into their business and trying to use these new tools and capabilities to make them more efficient. Many of them are making room in their budgets for AI, but not every mid-sized business, has specialized like data science expertise or large tech budgets to really do this. So accessibility and cost-effective solutions are really where the focus is being held. Next, let's talk about, some of the top businesses that are driving small and medium businesses to invest in AI. So here's a few key points for you. Break down these barriers. Like, what's the real value that you're going to get from it? First off, you can improve employee productivity using artificial intelligence. That's really cool. So think about automating repetitive tasks. It frees up your team to focus on more critical value add work. Another thing is that does something else. It frees up employees to be more creative, right? People don't like doing mundane tasks. People don't like doing repetitive tasks. A lot of people like doing creative and engaging work. We want to feel value in our work. AI could actually help employee retention by driving more value in the work that they do and offloading the things that they don't want to do that are repetitive, mundane work. You can optimize your business operations and improve your operational efficiency using AI. Think of like, when you automate these, complex tasks or these repetitive tasks, that helps reduce the cost of your overall operations and help you be more lean, more efficient. We see a lot of companies using AI for decision making, whether it's like to improve their decision making, whether it's, being able to like pull insights from large data sets and drive actionable recommendations, helping us build our strategy, our business plans. Look, if you're going to go in and if you're looking for investment, that you're going to go in and present your business to an investor, to a VC, to a bank, and you got to have a pretty good business plan and a strategy developed around your business. And AI can help you refine that strategy. It can help you build out your business plans and really think about how this can impact and benefit your business. So a couple other things to think about too. It can also enhance your products and services. It can lead to more insights that allow you to personalize your offerings and have faster, time to value with your products and services and improve your development cycles for those solutions. You can even embed AI into those solutions. If you're a small business or mid-sized business, you're developing applications, you're developing tech tools, you can start embedding AI into those tools and to drive more value to your customers too. Along with solving the day-to-day pain points and boosting productivity and efficiency, many small, medium-sized businesses are driven by the desire to stay relevant and competitive. Look, here's a couple more data points for you. 59% of organizations just like yours want to be prepared for AI as a differentiator. They see AI as really a future game changer, and they want to stay ahead of the curve. 50% of businesses like yours plan to use AI to address staffing shortages. I hear that all the time with small and mid-sized businesses. We just don't have enough people. Maybe we're having a hard time retaining good talent. It can help you kind of solve some of that gap with your staffing shortages, whether it's automating some tasks or empowering your existing staff to be more effective and efficient by providing them their co-pilot to help them do their job better. 42% of organizations like yours want to be on the cutting edge of AI. It's no longer, hey, we're going to let the market leaders in our space, we're going to let the big organizations figure out how to do it, and then we'll kind of copy and paste the things that they do well. No, this is democratized so much that we can actually be on the cutting edge of innovation, even in small businesses. A great example I think of is, my cousin actually runs a small business. He has around 5 employees in his business, so super small, and he views AI as his competitive advantage. It's the only way that he can stay competitive against larger businesses where that have bigger budgets, and more people, more staff. I mean, he uses it for his, helping craft business proposals, to lay out the foundation for some of his contracts, for helping automate some of his marketing, his social media posts. I mean, he helps, use it to write marketing copy, develop advertising for his business. So a lot of different ways that you can use AI, that you can get started today and start using AI today. So just a great example is you're not too small to leverage artificial intelligence. Now, when we're talking about businesses like yours that are adopting AI, we can look across a couple different industries and give you a couple examples of just common ways that they're using it. If you're in financial services, look, generative AI can help you handle large data sets and do data mining to refine, whether it's lending decisions or detect fraud or help generate reports, just operational things. In healthcare, you can use AI in the clinical decision side and the clinical side of the house, but maybe the low-hanging fruit for you is really the operational side. We've talked a lot about AI-assisted diagnostics and clinical decision support, developing personalized treatment plans, things like that. But really, think of it like your back office, mundane operations. There's a lot of use of AI that you can use in your healthcare and facility just to automate some of the back office operations. Hospitality, hotels, restaurants, they're using AI to help create dynamic pricing strategies, the personalized services, And really, one of the cool ways that they're doing it is to enhance the guest experience. Look, information technology and media and entertainment, they're creating content, improving placement, promotions of advertising, content generation, building out marketing strategies, and help improving investments across promotion channels. Professional services, whether you're in consulting, legal, HR firms, you can automate routine tasks. Look, we've got a legal application that we build at Lenovo that a lot of law firms use to help them with contract development, with doing research, legal research. So there's a lot of really good tools out there if you're a professional services organization. Retail, I've talked about that before, and we'll dive into actually a really cool use case for retail organizations. But whether you're using it for planning, price optimization, promotion, AI can analyze your buying patterns of your customers in real time and help you stock the right products, set competitive prices, and run targeted promotions. So all of these are really great examples, but for the challenge of, how do we make AI truly inclusive and broadly available? And that's really where, our vision at Lenovo lies. And so when you think about Lenovo, really, we're trying to enable AI in a democratized way. We call that smarter AI for all. Now, all of these are great examples, really put forward the challenge of making AI truly inclusive and broadly available. And that's what our vision is at Lenovo. We talk about smarter AI for all. Really, there's like two things that we're trying to do. We're trying to bring AI to every household and every industry. And while doing that, we're also trying to make it accessible, fair, and inclusive. That's what smarter AI for all means for us. That's our vision at Lenovo. We've got a long history in this space. I mentioned, from, launching our AI business, years ago, almost a decade ago, and the investment that we've made in the space, and incubating new businesses, to really this kind of this new paradigm and mission of bringing it not just to the supercomputing centers of the world, or the Fortune 100s and Fortune 500s of the world, but really bringing it to everyone, whether it's something that's in your pocket, putting AI on your device that sits in your pocket or at your desk, to bringing it to your data center or your edge, industrial edge environment. We want to make it, like I said, accessible, that everyone has access to it, that it's fair and inclusive. So we do a lot of work around, ensuring that we use AI responsibly and ethically. We have a responsible AI charter and a commitment to that. There's a lot more information we can share with you if you're interested to hear about our responsible AI charter, but it's got to be fair and inclusive. And really, everyone has to have some type of framework for responsible AI. That's a whole nother talk for another day. But, if you're going to empower your employees to use it, if you're going to use it in your business, you may maybe think about your guardrails, where you use it, where you don't use it. And for larger businesses, mid-sized businesses, you got to think about actually putting some policy together and some evaluation criteria for AI, because you just don't want to kind of leave it out in the wild for kind of every employee to use and sometimes misuse. So you got to put some guardrails around it, and that's really what responsible AI is all about. So now that you know our vision for making AI accessible to everyone, let's look at what what it actually looks like in action to use artificial intelligence in your business. Let's break into some real-world use cases, some examples of solutions that we developed at Lenovo and working with our partners that are both practical and really powerful for small and medium-sized businesses. One really cool application that if you have an AI PC, spoiler alert, you can go get started today. You can go, we'll put the link in here that you can actually go pull down this application today from our marketplace and get started today. It's available on our AI PCs. You can check out the requirements, make sure your device will support it, and that you have an AI PC that supports it. But what's really cool is today you can get started by using AI now. This gives you a personal chat bot that it uses a large language model. Specifically, we're using Meta's Llama 3 model on the back end, but you can use a large language model that runs on your device. And this is really what's cool about when we talk about AI PCs. A lot of people are like, what does that really mean? It means we're putting the compute power to run AI capabilities on your device, and we're enabling this whole new approach to artificial intelligence, that is becoming more distributed and giving you more access and control over the AI capabilities that you're using. And so, one of the things we've done in our AI PCs, we put this special processor called an NPU in those devices. It allows you to run things like large language models. That's why we built AI Now. And so you can actually start using a large language model and chat with it. It provides a whole chat interface. If you've used any of the online chatbot tools that are based on LLMs, this provides you the ability to run some of these locally on your device. And so you don't even have to go, connect to the internet. You can use it in remote locations. You don't have to move any of your data outside of your PC into a cloud environment that's going to get picked up and retrained, misused, used in a way that you wouldn't want because all of your data stays right there on your device. So it's really cool. I encourage you, if you've got an AI PC, click the link, download AI Now, start playing around with it. It's great way to get started, get familiar. If you haven't used a chatbot or LLM-based solution, this is a great place to start. It's really easy to use. So I encourage you to check it out. And there's a lot of other tools that we're enabling. Some that have third-party solutions, right? That we're enabling on our AI PC and copilots and things like that. Other AI technologies that we're enabling from our partners. But this is one that we developed ourselves. We've got a few more too. Whether you're a student or a creator, we have specialized AI solutions for you that run on the AI PC. Now, one of the other things that we've done is, look, we built, like I said, some capabilities like AI Now ourselves. But the reality is, if you want to do things like, use specialized tools like for computer vision or for other specialized use cases, whether you're a retailer or manufacturing organization or developer, one of the things that we've done is we built out an ecosystem of partners that we validated on our platforms. We call this Lenovo AI Innovators. This is a really cool program. And if you are an AI startup or you're building AI software and you want to work with Lenovo, you're hearing about AI PC or you're hearing about some of our AI servers, our edge communities. Like, look, that's exactly what I need to pair with my software to make a really awesome solution. Reach out to us, and we'd love to share more with you about the AI Innovators program. One of our partners is this company called MELDCX. We have, I would say, about 60 partners or so in the program today, covering about 160, 170 solutions. MELDCX is really cool because it runs on lightweight industrial edge devices, these AI boxes that we can put out in your retail store, small footprint, low power devices, hacking a lot of punch, providing a lot of, I mentioned earlier, like being able to look at customer behavior, things like theft and, shrink that impacts retailers, maybe staffing constraint, how to optimize your staff. If you're having maybe you have multiple checkout centers in your retail facility, you need to redirect people from, working in the back office to working on a checkout lane. You can do that in real time using AI to say, hey, got some backup, more people in the queue. We need to pull people from other parts, and you just send out an alert to notify them. Measuring how many people are coming in, your foot traffic in the store, looking at other type of anonymized demographic data, to help you kind of optimize your offerings that you're bringing in for the demographic that's visiting your store and engaging with your products, and improving things like product placement, improving conversions on maybe higher value items that you want to push. This will really help you unpack, because there's a lot of I would say, a perception that we have, when we are laying out our footprint of our store, planogram. There's assumptions that we make, right? And so this really is going from making assumptions about how to run our business to actually providing data that enables us to make data-driven decisions. That's what we can do. And we can do that in a very small footprint, with a couple cameras in your store, probably maybe some that already exist, tying it into the MELDCX software that's running on an edge server. What's really cool about this, it's running locally. It's running on a lightweight, small server in your store that you could hang on a wall or a ceiling somewhere and provide really good, valuable insights from it. really easy to set up too. And if you want more information on this solution, feel free to reach out and we could give you more information on it. It's a really cool way that you can use things like computer vision in a turnkey way to get started in your business. The other thing too that I thought was really interesting, we've started seeing more and more mid-sized organizations and businesses start to use, I mentioned this before, digital avatars, AI generative avatars. This is a great example. Another one of our AI innovators called DID, and they have a digital avatar that we can plug into. You can either program it with your specific data, responses for your specific, questions, or we can plug this into a large language model tailored for, whatever use case that you are looking at. And it provides a really kind of this really interactive way, just like you were chatting, just like if you were on AI Now or some other chat bot, and how you can ask it questions. This allows you to stand at a kiosk or at your device, at your desktop or on your device, and talk with what we call AI human, which is an avatar but looks like a person, right? And you could actually create one for your business. If you have an ambassador for your business that you want to create a really cool experience for your customers to interact with that ambassador, you could actually create an avatar of them. So it doesn't have to be one of these kind of like standard avatars. You could actually personalize this. And we're seeing mid-sized businesses start to use this in their, as a hospitality tool, customer engagement tools, as a customer service and support tool. So a really cool way that you can use generative AI to create a very immersive experience for customers. Now, all of these solutions can really help you elevate your business, but under the hood, there are these technologies at a foundational level powering these AI experiences are based on Lenovo infrastructure that we have vetted and kind of validated this full stack, all the software components that deliver these solutions on our infrastructure. So I just want to go through kind of the Lenovo infrastructure sitting underneath. What's under the hood, right, for these solutions? So we have an extensive portfolio. You may or may not be aware of it from, devices. We even have AI devices on our Motorola line. So Moto devices on up to like things like AI PC, data science workstations. If you have like some engineers or data scientists and they're like, hey, I don't want a whole data center worth of gear. I just need development box to get started. I need something for, one of our developers or our engineers to start testing out some of these AI models. We have data science workstations that are perfect for that. And then whether you need like big heavy iron in the data center, for training large language models or building some of these models or deploying them, either if you want to deploy them in the data center or deploy some of these AI capabilities out at the edge, we have a whole portfolio for our Lenovo Think Edge device. We have over 80 AI-ready platforms across our portfolio. That number continues to go up. It's probably gone up since I created this chart, so probably higher than that today. If you're thinking about partnering with a company, look, we're the number one business PC provider. We're the number one workstation provider. We're the number one in infrastructure reliability. We're the number one supercomputer provider, and we're bringing all that value to your business. So you get a great portfolio, vetted and validated solutions that we can drop on any of our infrastructure across that portfolio to make it easier for you to get started, reduce the complexity, reduce the time to get started, reduce the risk. We even have like POC starter kits if you just want to play around with some of these capabilities. You can reach out to us. We'd be happy to get you set up with one of those. So a lot of things that we're doing across our portfolio to support you and to support your endeavors around artificial intelligence. Now, you might be thinking, how do I start planning and implementing AI in my business? If you're not in that 14% that we talked about earlier that's already deploying AI applications, or if you're not in that 64% that are in a trial or pilot phase, if you're in that other kind of 36% that hasn't started yet, it's not too late. And some of the ways that you can think about getting started is really just sit down and brainstorm, like, what are some ways that, I could see from what I've heard today that I could see AI helping me out in my business. Don't start with like 10 different use cases. Start with one or two and, look at the complexity to implement it and the data that you have to work with and the tools that you have to work with and, pick the one that's the low-hanging fruit for you. And if you need help with this, we have, workshops that we do with customers. We can sit down with you and help you kind of unpack what's the top use cases I should be thinking about what's the next steps for being AI ready if I'm not ready today to get started on these use cases. And then even we'll come in and do what we call a fast start POC, proof of concept or proof of value, to prove out that this solution will work for your business. So if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out to us. We have AI experts at Lenovo that are here to support you. So that's the resource that you have through Lenovo. But there's a lot of other resources too. We've got our Lenovo Pro Academy, and we've actually got a free AI PC for business course that you can take advantage of today to start looking at how you can turn AI into one of your business's strongest assets. So check that out, Lenovo Pro Academy. And then lastly, be thinking about local resources that you have in your community. There's a lot of colleges, not just big universities. I'm working with community colleges today that are building out data science programs or building out AI programs and AI for business courses. And they have students that are eager to work on projects for their coursework. So you can partner with local, community centers. A lot of city and towns have, innovation hubs to support entrepreneurs. They have investment programs if you're doing something with AI in your business. There's, like I mentioned, universities, even community colleges that have AI programs and students that'll actually work on projects for your business. They'll reach out to your community, and there's probably a lot of resources that you can get from your local community. And of course, Lenovo's here to support you on this journey. So with that, I want to wrap up. I want to thank you all for taking time today to hear about AI, how you can leverage artificial intelligence within your business today. Hopefully, you've found this valuable, whether it's understanding kind of some of the top use cases, what other businesses like you are doing. And I think the biggest thing that we wanted to debunk is that it's not just for big business, it's for everyone. It's no matter where you need to run AI or what you're trying to do with it, there's probably a solution, a capability out there for your business. It's right sized for your organizations. It's not just for big business. It's really for everyone. And that Lenovo is your partner to help you get started and scale your AI initiatives. Thank you all for joining. Really appreciate the time today, and have a great rest of your week.